From Washington, this is VOA News. Israel-Palestinian battle resumes as truce fails. Afghan President Karzai accepts U.S. mediated election deal. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. Israel and Palestinian militants intensified attacks against each other Tuesday, following the collapse of a ceasefire deal to end the conflict, which began last week. VOA's Gabe Joselow reports.
The leaders of Hamas, the Palestinian political authority in Gaza, have rejected an Egyptian proposal for a ceasefire accepted earlier in the day by Israel. Hamas says it was not included in discussions of the deal, which called for a temporary ceasefire to begin Tuesday, the opening of the borders with Gaza, and talks between Hamas and Israel to take place in Cairo. Officials from the group have also insisted on further conditions, including the lifting of an Israeli blockade on the Palestinian territory. At a news conference, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned of a possible military escalation if Hamas does not accept the deal. Gabe Joselow, VOA News, Gaza.
The Israeli military held fire for 6 hours after agreeing to Egypt's ceasefire plan, but it resumed airstrikes after Gaza militants fired about 50 rockets over Israel from Hamas-controlled territory. An Israeli citizen was killed by rocket fire near the Eretz crossing into Gaza, marking the first Israeli casualties since the offensive began. Palestinian health officials say 194 Palestinians have died in the conflict. Afghan authorities say a suicide blast killed at least 41 people in eastern Afghanistan. A defense ministry spokesman says the bomber detonated his explosives-laden vehicle Tuesday near a crowded market in the Urgan district of Paktika province. There's been no claim of responsibility. Afghanistan's President Karzai says he is reluctantly accepting a U.S. mediated deal to audit all the votes from the country's presidential runoff election following allegations of fraud during the voting process. VOA's Aru Pandey has details.
In an exclusive interview with VOA's Afghan service, President Karzai said he did not welcome the agreement, but accepted it as a bitter pill due to the current political conditions in Afghanistan.
I accepted it because I wanted to get past this stage very quickly, because the elections have already taken a lot of time in this country. No country in the world has such a lengthy electoral process, and this must be corrected as well.
Tensions were high in the country after presidential candidates Abdullah and Ashraf Ghani both claimed victory in the June 14th runoff to replace Mr. Karzai. Aru Pandey, VOA News, Washington.
According to the deal, the new president will immediately form a government of national unity. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is heading back to Washington after 3 days of talks in Vienna with Iran about its nuclear program. Meetings with his Iranian counterpart have failed to break a deadlock.
There has been tangible progress on key issues, and we had extensive conversations in which we moved on certain things. However, there are also very real gaps on other key issues.
Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif echoed Secretary Kerry's sentiments, noting serious differences, but that there was enough headway made for a process worth continuing. An airstrike destroyed an apartment building in eastern Ukraine Tuesday, killing at least 11 people and triggering new accusations of direct Russian involvement in Ukraine's ongoing battle against pro-Russian rebels. A Ukraine military spokesman denies any Ukrainian involvement. The World Health Organization says the Ebola epidemic circulating in 3 West African countries shows no signs of diminishing. Lisa Schlein has more from Geneva.
The deadly Ebola virus is continuing to spread in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia nearly 4 months after it was first detected in remote forest communities of Guinea. There is no vaccine or cure for the virus, which is spread through direct contact with bodily fluids from an infected person. The World Health Organization reports Ebola victims in West Africa are dying at a rate of 60%. There have been periodic outbreaks of Ebola in Africa since it was first detected in the mid-1970s in the Democratic Republic of Congo, then known as Zaire. This is the first outbreak of the disease in West Africa, and it is proving to be the deadliest on record.
Lisa Schlein in Geneva. I'm Ray Kouguell in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.